Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm doing a little video on how love is like something that is basically something very interesting, how society does not like program us to see love as a skill. They see it as like follow your heart kind of idea, and how that can be damaging to apparently long-term relationships. Not that this is something that everyone has to think about. I do think if you're in your 20s it might not be something that's on your mind like me, but I thought this was really interesting to learn about, and it also goes into how your inner child is, how you learn as a child to be loved, and then how as an adult you like want to be loved the same way. So I need to take a break for videos after this because I feel like but it is so interesting, like I want to do it, but I feel like I'm bored of the sound of my own voice. You probably are, but we'll try and make it fun. So basically, apparently the guy from Walt Disney is the most dangerous person, sounds like the most dangerous person, because he has like so much hope, because we're like conditioned by companies and stuff to see love as this like end goal thing, like this perfect thing, like everyone loves each other, even though so many people have so many differences and we're so complex as people, because we're like all very strange naturally, like human beings. We're very like complex, as I said, and we are Homo sapiens, which makes us difficult to live with. And apparently we find it very difficult to find out our flaws. Our ex is a good idea to tell us about our flaws, but we don't often internalise that. It's unhealthy for the ego to internalise too many flaws, or any flaws really, so we aren't often aware of our flaws for that reason. Also, this video I watched, this guy was like, we're literally all addicts on some level, like to like sugar and stuff. You know, you could be addicted to sugar, you could be addicted to your phone, you could be addicted to any of that stuff, like, but I was like, oh well, isn't that just self-soothing? But if you think about animals, they don't need to be addicted to something. I mean, like, obviously animals can be addicted, but they don't generally need certain stuff that they're addicted to. So we are often, all of us are literally addicted, a lot of us, so that's very hard for other people. And you have to be vulnerable and humble when it comes to relationships a lot of the time, where we live in this narcissistic world, and it's literally so prevalent. Like, so many people are so narcissistic. Like, I literally am narcissistic sometimes. Like, our narcissism is healthy at the end of the day, but we live in this world where like social media has just brought out this side of all of us that we have to seem picture perfect. Where I swear this like wasn't a thing before social media, or before it got big. And apparently if we all went off our feelings, like society kind of says, like love, like follow your heart, follow your feelings in relationships, a lot of us would get in a lot of issues. As a child, we're like loved as a parent, and it's like you then, like, as an adult can interpret someone's behaviour not acting like a parent, and how you've been loved by a parent, to like, you think that's what love is, whereas an adult, that's not really what love is. Like, all of it, like, yeah, there might be aspects, but most of the love that you receive from a parent is to you because you're a child, but as an adult you're not really you're not really receiving that sort of love. So that's what's interesting. You could be like a young person, but again, that's not, it might be that you might not want a relationship at that point, like me. Like, you're not really in the place for one because you're still growing up yourself. It's important that people know that they have to cut slack for other people though, for this reason. And to love is actually, as an adult, about interpreting behaviour and interpreting our needs and stuff, which obviously you do as a parent. So everyone who we love will disappoint us, and often as a child you do get split. You split a parent up into like love and hate, whether you love or hate a parent, like to the sides of them. Like, if they're like a good parent or a bad parent, before you're 4 you don't understand that if someone is someone that sorry, if your parent is being like angry at you about something, because even I like forget, like it's hard to forget, like as an adult you process trauma, and it's normal to process as an adult your childhood trauma, and what comes with parenting, shouting at a child sometimes, and that is traumatic for the child, especially for someone highly sensitive. So then I would see it as a trauma, which is fine because that's normal, but like a lot of what comes with, until you're 4 you can't actually see a parent as one person. You can't understand that you can love and hate a person at the same time. If they're shouting at you but you still love them as a parent, you can be like, okay, I love you and I hate you, because we are not all good and bad. We all have our good sides and we all have our bad sides. And love is really about tolerance and understanding of that person, and not just admiration for their strength. So this guy was talking about how, like it's just society, like how they talk about how like a partner's supposed to make us happy. Like I don't think that's all life is about. I think that's a societal construction. Like a partner has to make us happy. And often we go for people that are familiar to us, like with our childhood. And interestingly enough, when you're a child you do get tortured in some ways. Like when you are disciplined for certain things, it can be like a torture. And we go for that. This guy said it like this, and we can go for people that give us the same type of torture, or if they don't give us the same type of energy, vibe, whatever, we don't like it. And we can be genetically compatible, like people can be genetically compatible, but like smells stuff, like you could be attracted to someone's physique and whatever, you might not be for various reasons. And we have this like inner desire to be like understood wordlessly. So if we're not understood wordlessly, we might just sulk. And apparently the key to a successful relationship is to teach someone something in a way that they can accept it, and not to like, because often we like teach people when like they're tired, when someone's tired or frightened. So you might be frightened of someone because they're getting angry at you, or you think that they're a twat or whatever, and you might be tired, so you try and humiliate them, as naturally everyone gets worked up. Important to teach someone stuff before you get to that level. So that's interesting. And also apparently accepting someone as a whole is not very healthy. It's better to understand that someone's going to want to make you to a better person by giving you certain tough love in some ways and stuff. Because like society is like, oh, they don't accept me, like they're a bad partner and they're just, you know, rude and blah blah blah. But sometimes we're not perfect beings, so they are going to disagree with us. This is the kind of thing that people just forget. So if you are basically looking for perfection, that is not going to exist. And that will only come to loneliness, because no one is perfect. We are all incompatible, but love is the achievement of accommodating other people, and learning how to like respond to a tricky type of thing that you might either have experienced in the past, because usually we do go for people that are similar to us. If you have experienced a tricky thing, it's about learning to deal with that. It might even be something in yourself in a healthy, maturer way than as a child. Because we do all have an inner child at the end of the day. You might have had a distant parent, so then you go for a distant partner. And in order as a child to get attention from the distant parent, you might have like shouted and screamed and, you know, made a noise. Whereas that doesn't work as an adult. You need to go about it in a different way, and it might just be worth going about it in a more mature way, and recognising that we all have to compromise on people. They've actually had to compromise for us, which can be a very unfortunate, sad thing to actually come to terms with. We're not perfect beings either. They had to compromise with us, and we have to compromise with them. We're all human beings, and none of us are perfect. So, and just as the last thing, we do all we are all growing we all live in this world where we have to like blame or judge someone. We're blaming and judging people, and I don't know whether that's always been the case. Probably, I honestly do. Probably, yeah, actually. Thinking about the Bible and stuff, we all do. And the fact is, if you do something, you're going to potentially regret it, and if you don't do something, you're going to potentially regret it. So it's always worth taking a chance on love, but obviously don't stay in unhealthy relationships and use discernment, etc. That's the end of my video. I'm going to hit that day off filming because my brain's hurting from all this talking to myself. I haven't got phones, I haven't got any friends. There we go. Alright, thanks, bye.